the home of the Knights. WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach, Orlando.
Time to put the pedal to the floor. It's loud and live and local. Oh, time for open mic.
That is correct. We are loud, live, and local every morning right here, 6 to 9:30 a.m. on FM 96.9 The Game, AM 740, HD Radio 101.1-2. You can find us on podcast. You can find us on the iHeartRadio app as well. You can see us on social media live and in color. Just go to YouTube right now if you want to watch the show. Look for the Open Mic live stream, and there we are. Welcome to Open Mic. I'm Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel. Joining me, as always, Adam Reardon, the deceptive intellect, and a new era begins today. Kelly Velez, the Prince of Production, on his first official day as executive producer.
Mike, the Prince of Production in the building, y'all. Listen, it feels incredible to be here right now. I had to put the Prince music on. You understand?
Oh, I get it.
All right. The Kelly Velez era of production has kicked off with getting us booted off of YouTube in 1 minute.
That's what you get for not brushing your teeth, man. Come on.
1 minute of the show. That's it. We're playing copywritten music.
Maybe since there was no singing, they didn't notice. I don't know how that worked.
I don't know if the Prince estate recognizes that riff the same as the rest of us do. I don't know.
Do the instrumentals? It's not going on.
I don't know. You know what? I don't know. It's got to be like one of those ones, sort of like we have the Proud Mary version, the Proud Larry version that we play.
The bootleg version.
That's it.
I'll get the bootleg version. I got you.
There we go. It's a great song.
So does YouTube? All right. So YouTube, when we do our live stream on video, I guess YouTube recognizes copywritten music and kicks you off. Is that right?
It blocks your stream.
Does it do that immediately, or is it?
I'm not 100% sure because I'm not watching immediately. I think what it does is just when you end the stream, it'll just go, "We're not uploading this to the." So anybody
with
who's
like
not
the DMCA, if you play like a certain amount of the song, I believe, like a certain length. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on all the rule. All I know is like, for some reason, and different countries block different songs. I said this all the time. The funny part was during Christmas time. Mike's a big Christmas music guy, and apparently, communist countries hate Christmas music. So like. You're in December. It was like your stream has been blocked in Iran, Cuba, and all these different countries. And I'm going, oh, they must really hate.
You're like, what's going on? You check it out. No jingle bells. It's like, oh, that's great.
Iran doesn't like the Christian stuff, do they? When we talk about Tim Tebow as well, they ban us in Iran. All right, we want to hear from you throughout the course of the show. Give us a call, 407-916-8255. You can tweet us at 96.9 The Game. You can also go to at 96.9 The Game on Twitter and vote on all of our polls, which are up right now. You can also text us. Academy Sports and Outdoors text line, that's 50857. We don't just entertain and inform you. We also give you a chance to win money. First chance at $1,000, 7:10 a.m. this morning, presented by International Diamond Center. We call it the Game Day Payday. So make an appointment for 7:10 a.m. this morning. We like to begin every day with an open mic inspirational early morning quote of the day. This comes from our favorite philosopher, the legendary Anonymous, who once said, "Don't be busy, be productive," end quote. I know how the deceptive intellect's going to translate this.
Oh, this is going to be pretty straightforward. I mean, there's a lot of people that.
This is your old work smart.
They're the work smarter, not harder type thing. But there's a lot of people that can go into an office or in any work and look busy. Okay, you can make yourself busy by doing things that aren't going to really contribute to the movement, the productivity, the success of an organization or a company, or you can make sure that every move counts, and that's what being productive is all about. Yeah, I mean, you could be flying all around the building, but not be productive. But you're hella busy, and people look at that. Look how busy that guy. Oh my God, that guy's working so. And at the end of the day, have contributed nothing to the bottom line. And then there's the guy who's over there quietly plugging away, being productive. Be productive, not busy.
There's a reason why they call certain things busy work, right?
Busy work. That's
Getting
right.
Nothing out of it, man.
Yeah, got to do the busy work sometimes too, as well. But my good friend Frank Frangie, I love my boy Frank Frangie, but when Frank Frangie was a newspaper guy before he became a big time radio guy up in Jacksonville, and the voice of the Jacksonville Jaguars, by the way. So Frangie worked at the Florida Times-Union. All right, he wasn't there when I was there. He was actually there before me, and he was also just getting into radio at the time. All right, so. His allegiances were sort of split. So Frank Frangie would come into the office at the Times-Union, and he wouldn't be there very long, okay? He would come into the office at the Times-Union, and he would make sure, though, that he would go around so that all the big bosses saw him in the office. He'd go greet them in their offices, and then he'd go to the executive editor, and then the managing editor, and the sports editor. He'd go by and talk to them, and then when they weren't looking, he'd sneak out.
Duck out.
He'd sneak in. Yeah. So it was a great ploy by Frank Frangie because they just thought he was always in the office and he was only there to be seen, and then he was out.
How about Frank? Frank was probably really smart enough to recognize, the bosses get there at 8. I'm getting there at 7:55. Have the coffee in my hand, sitting at my desk as they walk in. Like, hey, what's going on, Mr. Johnson? Good to see you. Yeah, just plug it away in here. Plug it away.
And then by 9:20, he was gone.
Yeah.
That's so smart. You make sure there's like that little ring under your coffee mug too, just so they know that you've been drinking, you've been there for a while. Make sure it's nice and dry.
Did George Costanza do that? He slept underneath his desk in Seinfeld, set the alarm there.
Yeah. All right, let's start with this. It became official yesterday. Longtime Orlando City owner Flavio Augusto da Silva sold the club to the Wilf family, the owners of the Minnesota Vikings. They now enter a 30 to 60-day closing period, meaning the ownership transition will likely take place in June or early July. The Major League Soccer Board of Governors must approve the sale. We've talked about this for the last couple of months, really, but now it's official. And again, I will reiterate, I love this. As I wrote in my column at the Orlando Sentinel, which you can read right now if you go to orlandosentinel.com. Yeah, there you go. The best day in Orlando City history was when Flavio bought Orlando City and provided the money, the expansion fee, $70 million to get into MLS. The second best day is yesterday, Flavio selling Orlando City to an owner with much deeper pockets. Flavio is rich. The Wilf family is filthy rich. Flavio is a multimillionaire. The Wilf family are multi-billionaires. All right. And there have also been whispers about Flavio may have overextended himself with the purchase of Orlando City and then the undertaking of building a self-financed soccer-exclusive stadium. In the last couple of years, the Orlando City owner has been largely silent. He's been mostly invisible in the community, unavailable for interviews despite repeated media requests. I compared this, Adam, to the Orlando Magic way back when. I don't know if you know the history of the Magic, but their original majority owner was a man named Bill DuPont. All right, so Bill DuPont owned the team. He owned the team for a couple of years, I believe. But anyway, he hit some financial he had some financial issues, we'll put it that way. and he didn't have the wherewithal, the financial wherewithal to operate an NBA franchise the way it needed to be operated. And that's when the DeVos family, with all of their billions, came in to rescue and purchase the Magic. I think this is sort of like that, all right? I'm not saying Flavio had to sell Orlando City, but I think he wanted out from under it so he could have a big chunk of liquid assets to maybe go do something else. Your thought?
Let me ask you this: the DeVos family, as owners, are they here? Are they viewable? Like, are they? I mean, do you know who owns this team? Could you recognize them if you saw them?
Oh, yeah. Dan DeVos, Rich DeVos, everybody knew him, obviously, when he was alive. But now his son, Dan DeVos, is the chairman of the team. And Dan DeVos, he doesn't live here, but he shows up games. He's accessible. If you need an interview for something, you can go. You can call up the media relations at the Magic and get an interview with Dan DeVos.
Okay.
But like Adam Shadoff, Fox 35 sports anchor. He's on our show every Tuesday. He said this the other day, and Fox 35 is the official station of Orlando City. They televise their games, everything. They have a partnership with Orlando City. And Adam Shadoff said the other day, I've never seen Flavio. I've never interviewed Flavio. I've tried to, but nothing. So, yeah, Magic ownership much more visible than Flavio was.
And I guess in this day and age, if you're not as visible as like Mark Cuban or Steve Ballmer, you know what I mean? Like if you're not like on the sidelines whooping it up with your fans and stuff, maybe I just think that you're like an absentee owner, and so maybe some of these other guys sort of skew the perception of what I would say, these are owners who own other things and are doing other things. This is just an asset to them. Again, I think that the most important thing here is money, as it is just about in every other aspect of life. And when you go from a rich owner to a filthy rich owner, you have sort of more toys in the toy box, if you will. And we will see this is an ownership group that has dealt in the NFL, and so how they know how to navigate professional sports franchises at the largest level in this country. Yeah. There is honestly, at the end of the day, when it comes to the business side, when it comes to a team that or an ownership group that has the resume to take over your soccer program, I don't. Honestly, I can't imagine that there would be I can't imagine that there's Orlando City fans this morning going, "Oh, I hate this move. Absolutely hate this move."
Right? Yeah. Again, it's a win-win for everybody. I compare it to another NFL owner, Home Depot co-founder Arthur Blank, when he bought into Atlanta United and brought them into MLS. He essentially bought an MLS Cup championship in only the franchise's second year of existence. Why? Because he spent tons of money in the transfer market. He invested heavily to help create one of the top soccer academies in the country. And Atlanta United, boom, they were champions. And I'm not saying the Wilf family is going to make Orlando City champions immediately, but hell, the Wilf family's taken over a team that's already a contender. At least right now. They were in the playoffs last year. They made some noise in the playoffs last year. And again, I think they're a contender this year. I don't think it's that far-fetched to think that the Wilf family's money could push Orlando City over the edge into a championship soon.
Yeah.
Do you?
No, I listen, the trajectory of this team right now is heading in such a positive direction. Talk about the success of last year. You bring in Oscar Pereira, an accomplished head coach in this league, and in his entire career, he's leading the team now. They're getting the results. You've actually got a guy or had a guy on your team that folks in Europe are looking at, and people are throwing around the figure of $20 million. Everything about Orlando City right now is on the up. So this is a good time to be an Orlando City fan. What'd they go? They go 7 years, 8 years not making the playoffs, and then boom, here we go, playoffs, new ownership, competent leadership. At the head of the club. With the head coach, quality players that European Premier League teams are looking to buy potentially. You've got Nani, one of the most recognizable faces in all of MLS. You've got a American national team player, Chris Mueller on the roster. They've got everything about this team right now is moving in a positive direction. I honestly, I would have to take the break to think of something that you could find within the team today that you like less than you did a year ago.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, straight ahead. Could a former UCF quarterback take the place of Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay? We will discuss that next on Open Mic.
More Open Mic up next.
So we were just talking about Orlando City being sold to the owners of the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings, of course, their dominating defense used to be known as the Purple People Eaters, and I brought that up the other day, and so we were trying to come up with a something we should start calling Orlando City now that the Vikings owners own them, and Reardon came up with Purple Pitch Paladins, or I don't remember what it was, something like that. And then I said, well, what about Oscar Pereira's favorite word, the way he likes his players to play? He likes them to be the protagonists. He always says that. We need to be the protagonists. So, all right, I've amended your original one, Adam. You ready for this one?
Yes.
Purple Pressing Protagonists. Isn't pressing
It's a soccer
style
term.
of play?
Yeah, and it's a high defensive. It's a lot of running
Aggressive,
around.
right?
Yeah, it's pretty aggressive. I like the word pitch. Pitch gives it that. Well, so in the interest of full disclosure, one of the things that just kind of drives me a little bit crazy about Orlando City is that they're Orlando City SC. As if I like
Instead of FC.
Yes, I'm a bit of a SC. That's and I get it over here. We call it soccer, but I just my preference is always
That's like the soccer purist in you.
Yeah, the football purist.
Football.
Yeah, that's right.
But we always call it soccer over here, so why wouldn't you call it soccer?
Because it's a global game. If you're trying to sell it to just American fans, that's fine. But I think for the global image, to me, football is the world's game. You know what I mean?
To me, football is the NFL and college football.
Well, I'm saying I want Orlando City to be a world recognized club, not just an American one. I got bigger dreams.
I settle for state recognized at this point.
Well, so I guess since I can't get FC, I really want pitch in there. Pitch as opposed to field. You know what I mean? The soccer field. Okay. Yeah. So I squeezed in a little, world terminology. You know what I mean?
Purple pitch protagonist. I have no problem with purple pitch protagonist.
And then pressing. What happens if there's a new coach who doesn't like to press? So then we're done.
Good point.
Yeah.
Point. Yeah. Or, then we'd have to change the whole thing because protagonist is Oscar Pereira's term. So, anyway.
We're going to have to change it anyway when Oscar Pereira takes a job over in
absolutely.
Europe.
We'll come up with a new one then. So, anyway, all right, interesting news coming out of Green Bay. Now, obviously, it's more interesting to us because of the name, and the name is Blake Bortles. According to Adam Schefter, the Packers have agreed to sign Blake Bortles to a 1-year contract. It doesn't necessarily mean Aaron Rodgers won't be back next year, but the Packers are certainly, it seems like they are just have some contingency plans. Just in case. Obviously, Jordan Love is there, the rookie quarterback who they drafted last year in the first round, which upset Aaron Rodgers, which is sort of the genesis of the problem going on between Aaron Rodgers and the front office in Green Bay right now. But it's sort of interesting that Blake Bortles, former UCF quarterback, third pick in the 2014 NFL draft, went to the Jaguars, was with the Jaguars for 5 years. He hasn't played in a regular season game since the 2019 season with the LA Rams when he was their backup quarterback. He's had stints with the Broncos and Rams since leaving Jacksonville, and he spent some time on Denver's practice squad as well. So do you think, I think this is a clear indication that the Packers are at least a little worried that they're not going to be able to work out a deal with Aaron Rodgers, and maybe Jordan Love will be the starter if Aaron Rodgers does go or is traded or does sit out. But I don't know that they really trust Jordan Love that much. How could they? I mean, he's a rookie who's never really played. Is this an indication that the Packers are worried? I think it is.
Well, it's one of two things. It's either them saying, hey, listen, we need to really put a plan in place here, because this could potentially be the reality that Aaron Rodgers, that we call his bluff, and he's not bluffing. Okay, he's going to host Jeopardy, or he's going to do something else, quit. We got to be prepared for that, and I think that's smart ownership. And that's smart within your franchise. It's either that, the contingency plan, as you said, because Aaron Rodgers may not be bluffing here, or the fact that Blake Bortles has not started or played in a regular season game since 2019, I believe you said.
2019.
2019. It's either the contingency plan or the Packers are looking for a tight end. One of those two things. one of those two things.
Well, they would give Tebow a trot if they wanted that.
Well, apparently, quarterbacks who haven't played in a long time moving to tight end, that's the new run. We go in runs in the draft like, wide receivers are coming off the board. Old tight ends or old quarterbacks who haven't played are now becoming tight ends in the NFL, apparently.
Yeah. All right, straight ahead. Is there disagreement within the Jaguars building about signing Tim Tebow? One NFL insider thinks so. That's next on Open Mic.
Bianchi's got to get a quick work.
That's true, because you raise the flags here in Tampa. That's the only way you're winning. Versus Atlanta, I hope the Falcons fly away from Tampa with a strong public relations. Me too. You know, who can't use a strong PR team? I need one. At the Los Angeles Rams. Hollywood, here we come. You know what they say, lights, camera, walk. At New England. I know people have New England circled on their calendars. Instead of circles, I draw birds on my calendar. That's because I'm an artist.
That Gronk's a funny guy. That was Gronk reading the first few games of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers schedule. The NFL released the schedules yesterday amid much fanfare. I got to tell you, the NFL's hype machine just amazes me. It really does. We talked last week about how the NFL draft just dwarfed the Academy Awards in the ratings. And then yesterday, when the NFL released its schedule, oh, my God, you'd have thought that they were revealing who really shot JFK. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's all over ESPN all day long, the NFL Network, everybody on social media. What other sport creates such fervor when releasing the dates and times of when two teams play each other? Seriously. But that's the NFL. It is the king of all sports. It's amazing to me that a schedule reveal gets. Again, I don't know how you would rank this. The NFL, if they had an official NFL schedule reveal show on like network TV, it'd probably get higher ratings than the World Series. Okay, that's how big the NFL is. Were you fired up yesterday, Reardon, about the NFL schedule reveal?
It's not tune-in, must-see TV for me because I know eventually I'll see it come across the ticker, all the really important games that we have on the schedule. But listen, I get it. The NFL, I sort of knock sports in this country to say, you know, they are geographically based entertainment, you know, sports entertainment entities, you know. But it's smart. Because when people in New York fall in love with the Giants, they want to know what the Giants' schedule looks like. And so that's millions and millions of people who care yesterday about the NFL, and they're in a helmet being put on that day. And, you know, around the country and all these major metropolitan areas where all the population is in this country, those people are invested in their local team. And the NFL is the king of all sports in this country. And yesterday's just another example of that because people are calling each other going, oh, did you see, man? People start scheduling vacations around this stuff. I said as soon as Vegas got an NFL franchise, I said, how cool is that going to be for a Dolphins fan when your team goes to Vegas to play against the Raiders? You and your buddies go, dude, let's go to Vegas. Let's do a whole weekend there. And it'll culminate in the Sunday game at that little Darth Vader stadium that they got out there. Yeah, I mean, and people get excited about it. I guarantee you yesterday, you know what was a good industry to be in? The travel industry. Mm-hmm. You know, people calling up going, I want to book a flight to Green Bay, you know, at this time of year from here. And I'm sure other industries moved a little bit because of these schedules.
Well, except you can't get any gas once you get there because of the
pipeline will be done, Mike. I got gas this morning. But don't get these people too fired up. You know, I had to go through this with toilet paper at one point. Except for I can't use old T-shirts to fuel my car. Okay,
yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Or tree moss.
That's
we used to use out in Interlocking. Yeah, get those red bugs up there though. That's not pleasant. All right, so the highlights of the schedule, in my opinion, and I'm just going the state teams here. The Jags are my team, but the Buccaneers, obviously the defending champions. The first game against the Cowboys, that's going to be unbelievable. It's the NFL kickoff game. That's Thursday, September 9th at Raymond James Stadium. But as Gronk just pointed out during that clip we played, everybody is going to circle the Patriots game on October 3rd. Tom Brady, of course, making his return against the Patriots. Is that game in Foxborough? I think it is. I think it's in Foxborough. That's gonna be mega huge. Mega huge. That is week 4. Then you have the Dolphins Bucks week 5, and then the Jags Dolphins in London week 6. So again, those are the premier games involving state teams. I mean, we could go. I'm not going to pull a Jerry O'Neal here and go through every game on every team's schedule. All right, but to me, those are the 4. And of those games, it's not even close. It isn't although the Bucks Cowboys. I mean, because of the Cowboys and their reputation as America's team and all of that. But I still think Bucks Patriots is the most intriguing game of the NFL season that I saw. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think when you look at the sort of the marquee of it all, but I mean, it's not like the Patriots were a good football team last year.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
No, I get it. I said Peyton Manning.
They better be improved this year, or even Belichick will start getting some heat.
Yeah, I think Tom Brady going back to Foxborough, seeing how fans react to him. I mean, gets a standing ovation, right?
He has to, right? That'll be the classy move to do, right?
I mean, it's not like he played, for the Eagles, and I'm asking, if he goes back to Philadelphia, would he get, standing ovation? I mean, for all that guy delivered,
even though he left on his own.
Yeah,
I mean, people say that Belichick ran him out. I don't believe that. I think Brady set it up to leave.
But I mean, like, if you're a Patriots fan and you have tickets to that game, and that guy walks out on the field after all he's given you,
you have to show him love, man.
I mean, when Spurrier returned to the Swamp, they loved him, right? Even though he was coaching at South Carolina, even though he was coaching a rival team in the SEC East, they still loved him, right? They didn't boo Spurrier.
No, Brady will get cheered. I mean, I was at the Super Bowl in Tampa this past year, and there were some Patriots fans there with Brady jerseys on, so they even went to the Super Bowl to root on Tom Brady. So yeah, I think he'll get cheered. He'll get a standing ovation in Foxborough. You're right. At least he should. He should. All right, straight ahead. We have a poll on that, by the way. You can go vote on not on Brady. We have a poll on what is the most intriguing game of the NFL season involving state teams, and we have 4 options on there for you. All right, so go vote on that poll at 96.9 The Game on Twitter. All right, I teased this story earlier, but we're going to get to it next. One NFL insider says there is disagreement within the Jaguars building about signing Tim Tebow. Could Urban Meyer backtrack on this, sort of like he did the strength and conditioning coach from Iowa? That's next on Open Mic.
96.9 The Game.
Strikeouts for Cole.
Garrett Cole, I don't like you. Struck out 12 of my Tampa Bay Rays last night as the hated Yankees beat the Rays 1-0 last night.
You guys are always coming out on top in recent years. Can we get 2 games? We can get those, right?
No. You never like to lose to the hated Yankees, especially since the Yankees are now surging up the standings. Where are they? I think they're second now in the East behind the Red Sox. Kelly Velez, our new executive producer, is a big Yankees fan. Also, who else are you fans of? Yankees, Knicks, who else?
Knicks, Giants.
So one of those New York guys.
Well, no, if you know, to me, Yankee fans are Giant fans. Met fans are Jets fans.
Jet fan.
Yeah. Is there anybody that crosses over those lines? Like, hey, I love the Mets and the Giants.
It doesn't matter. If you're a New York sports fan, you're obnoxious. Doesn't matter which team.
You're going to call me obnoxious?
Yes.
It's false.
Absolutely.
You're getting lumped in. This is sort of
like this.
You know what it is? Like if this show was on in New York City and they talked about SEC football fans, he'd describe them all as like slack-jawed with jorts on. Yeah.
High four-headed nose pickers.
Well, now it makes him want to be more annoying when we're winning.
He said the hated Yankees. Now, where was this game? Was the game played in Tampa?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guarantee you this: if you went around the building and polled everybody in the building and say, "Hey, which team are you pulling for?"
Yankees.
It would have been the Yankees. So they were the much-loved Yankees inside. Is it still the Trop? What do we call it? I don't even know.
Yeah, it's still the Trop. Yeah. All right. Since this is Kelly Velez's first day as the executive producer, first official day as the executive producer of Open Mic. All right, so we sort of nicknamed him the Prince of Production. All right. Again, I don't know if that's the right nickname or if it's not. So let's do a little spontaneous text question right now. Can we do that?
Here's the text question of the day.
See if you can come up with a better nickname for Kelly Velez.
Ooh, I like that.
Than Prince of Production. All right. Now, Austin Pistolka obviously was the Sultan of Sound. You guys came up with that for him. So if you can come up with a better one than Prince of Production for Kelly Velez, let's hear it. Text him in the 50857. Kelly, you can also text in, like many people nickname themselves, which I don't agree with. I don't think who's the most obvious nicknaming of themselves?
That's a good question because it does happen, but I can't think off the top of my head somebody that's straight out.
I don't think you should be allowed to nickname yourself.
I think that's exactly what I think. It should come from your community. You can't name yourself.
Yeah, like Mark Daniels nicknamed me the Bulldog, so that's okay. Mark Daniels and Adam. Did I nickname you the Deceptive Intellect?
Yeah.
I think I did. Yeah, because you watch documentaries.
We were talking about documentaries, and you go, well, you know what? For a guy doesn't look smart, you're like a deceptive intellect, and then it's stuff.
All right. By the way, deceptive intellect, what the hell is going on with the stock market? What in the hell is going on? I am losing hundreds of dollars in the stock market. Hundreds.
Well, that must be nice. I don't want to tell you what I'm losing. I keep checking I've turned from a trader. Here's my advice: take off your trader hat, and now, Mike, you're an investor.
Just dig in.
Listen, patience, but you spell it with a P-A-Y.
Oh, no.
You got to spell patience with a P-A-Y because if you have patience, the word pay will be in there, okay? So
you have to have these diamond hands, man.
Diamond hands, there's no question. I've got one I'm sitting on. I got one I'm sitting on right now that every time I check it, it gave me like one good day over the last 2 weeks, and I'm like, but the positive news is if you really believe in the company that you're investing in, There's always the chance to average down.
Buy the dip.
Buy the dip. Buy the dip. Let me tell
I'm
you.
not buying anymore. I will not do it.
If the one I get, kind of trick, how they trick you with sales like $19.99, and you go, well, hey, it's under $20. If this one drops down because it's like at 08 right now, this thing drops down to 99.99. I'm averaging down. The one I'm on.
That's why it's important to diversify, to have ETFs and things of that nature, just in case this happens. Because I thought it was just like the tech sector. No, everything's going down.
Everything's
Crypto,
down.
even.
Yep. This is the lesson I've learned. And eventually, when I get my money out of this one, I will no longer YOLO my account into one stock.
This is going to be the one.
This is the one that's taught me my lesson here that I need to. But I can't sell now because.
I got everything in Tesla right now.
Listen, you don't lose what you don't sell, Mike. You've not lost yet. You've not lost yet.
Good point. Good point. All right. Let's go early for a little station identification.
WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach, FM 96.9 The Game, the home of Orlando City Soccer Club.
All right, so when it was announced that Tim Tebow was going to sign a contract to return to the NFL with the Jaguars and his former college coach, Urban Meyer, it immediately led to debate, all right? And again, it's amazing to me. Actually, it's not, because I've been following this Tebow mania for more than a decade now. It's amazing that a backup tight end signing or potential signing has created such a fervor on the debate shows. Again, it's become a racial issue in some points with Colin Kaepernick. Why is Tim Tebow getting another chance and Colin Kaepernick hasn't? So it's created all sorts of fervor. There's been backlash. People are saying it's a college move. Urban Meyer playing favorites, bringing in his favorite college player, which obviously that's true. All right. Well, yesterday, Jeff Darlington, a good friend of mine, used to work with him at the Orlando Sentinel. He covered the Gators. I think he covered the Gators when Urban Meyer took over as the Gator head coach. He certainly covered it when Ron Zook was the head coach, and now he's one of ESPN's main NFL insiders. Well, he was on what's the show with Greeny in the morning? Go back to bed. What's it called? Get
Wake
Up.
Up.
Right.
Get Up.
Yeah, Get Up.
Go back to bed.
I call it Go Back to Bed. Anyway, Jeff Darlington was on Get Up yesterday talking about Tim Tebow potentially signing with the Jaguars, and here's what he said.
There's a serious disagreement within the building about the idea of Urban Meyer signing Tim Tebow. There are coaches on that staff who don't want to see it happen. And, there are also, in the same breath, those who are saying, to Booger's point, it's not that big of a deal. Look, he's probably not going to be on the roster week one, to which you would say, well, then why do it at all? I think that Booger makes some really good points there. But it is just also important to remember, beyond the emotional side of this, beyond the wonders of why, is just the reality that it's really not practical. It's not likely to work, and it doesn't necessarily. Urban Meyer, I think, would say, well, hey, I'm going to add anybody to my team who has the potential to better this organization, to which you could look at this and say, well, how is this going to better the organization? There's just really not very much upside at all, to be quite honest.
Okay, so that was Jeff Darlington yesterday, obviously on Get Up. I guess Booger McFarland was on that segment as well. By the way, how old do you have to be before you change your name from Booger? Do you ever do that?
There's only one Booger I recognize, and that's from Revenge of the Nerds. Okay,
You got to hold on to it, man. It's been this long. Just ride it out.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So he's going to be Booger for life. All right.
It's like Lil Wayne. He's been Lil for 20 years.
that's right.
You're grown Wayne now, okay?
Lil Bow Wow did switch from Lil Bow Wow.
He's Bow Wow now.
Now he's just Bow Wow. Bro.
So it can happen, but in the sports world, it may be different.
All right, so disagreement in the building. That doesn't surprise me at all. I certainly believe Jeff Darlington. He has sources throughout the NFL. I can see that. Again, there's disagreement. Actually, there's not disagreement on this show. I think we all agree that it's not a good idea to sign Tim Tebow as a tight end or a backup tight end or whatever, H-back, whatever he's going to be, all right? Because as Jeff Darlington said, what's the upside that he's going to improve the culture in the locker room? Well, you could say that, but he could also, what's the word I'm looking for? He could also hurt the culture in the locker room, because when the head coach, who's never been an NFL head coach in the past, comes in and he's a college coach and he brings in his favorite player from college, even though the player hasn't played in an NFL game in nearly a decade, some of those NFL players are going to look at Urban Meyer and go back to college, man. This is the pros. This is the pros. And, guys like Shaquille Griffin from UCF, who they just signed as a free agent from Seattle. You think Shaquille Griffin's thinks Tebow's going to help the culture in the locker room? I mean, come on.
How many students love the teacher's pet?
Mm-hmm. None. Yes, that's a good point.
None.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's what I'm
saying. And when a teacher or a coach or anybody in your life shows a favoritism to somebody that doesn't pull their weight or can't pull their weight, how much respect do you lose for that leader? It is a terrible, terrible plan. And here, let's take all the Tebow, Florida emotion, Jacksonville out of it. DK Metcalf, right? Just ran. What was that? Was that the Olympic trials that he was running in? I don't even know what he was doing there. But so he runs, right? Finishes 9th, respectable, right? He ran, but just wasn't on that level, right?
Yeah.
If today you heard that the leader of the U.S. Track and Field Association, be damned, was going to put him on the U.S. Olympic team, wouldn't you go?
Because DK Metcalf ran for him in college.
Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't you go, that's stupid. Why are you doing this? He's not, even though DK Metcalf's story and his personality, would he not be a good locker room guy for the U.S. Track and Field Association? I'm sure of it. But you know who wouldn't be a fan of that? The other track athletes who have had to bust their ass to get there, right, to see somebody walk in off the streets, essentially not trained in that sport, and walk in and basically be handed a spot that somebody else deserved. Urban Meyer has gotten one thing right during this offseason, and it's the one thing that really he probably had no control over at all. Right. The only, the signing of the strength coach, this Tebow thing, I think he's missed the mark now twice with things that would impact the locker room.
Drafting Travis Etienne with the second first-round pick.
That one there, I'll wait to really go, hey, that would have been, that's a failure. But this is a move. There is no positive outcome to this, unless, of course, you think that Tim Tebow is going to become an all-pro tight end, or a guy that's going to catch a bunch of balls, or at least a few balls even in the NFL, and contribute to this team better than a guy who, I don't know, has been playing tight end the last 4 years in the NFL could have. And I refuse to believe that reality.
The only way this could work is, and again, I'm not kidding, the DK Metcalf thing was, that's a good comparison, but it's only a good comparison if Tebow makes the team, he's on the team next year. If they're just giving him a tryout to look at him in training camp, again, I don't know how big of a deal that is, but again, I think it speaks to, as you said, Urban Meyer making decisions that seem like college moves. I meant bringing in the Iowa strength coach, all right? That was ridiculed and lambasted throughout the league, and he had to backtrack on this. I'm wondering if Urban Meyer, because of the backlash with all this Tebow thing, because of people turning it into, again, I don't think this is a racial issue like some people are mentioning with Colin Kaepernick. I think it's apples and oranges, but it's being turned into that by some, and Tebow is a lightning rod for criticism among some. I wonder if Urban Meyer will end up backtracking on this move and not signing Tim Tebow, because I think it has hurt his credibility as an NFL head coach. I really do.
I don't think he can go. I don't think at the end of the day he can not sign Tim Tebow. You know what I mean? I think that. Well,
he hasn't signed him yet.
Well, if he signs, and all signs are pointing to he will sign, what he needs is for Tebow to bow out gracefully and go, you know what, hey, I did it, but it's really, I'm 33. Who am I kidding here? These guys are in their peak physical primes, and he needs Tebow to do that for him.
Yeah, but Tebow's the one who's pressured him into the move in the first place.
Oh.
Not pressured him, but probably asked him, hey, can you give me a shot? And Urban Meyer's not going to say no.
Yeah, but if Tim Tebow sees what's happening now to Urban Meyer, I mean, guys, like literally, he doesn't even have his stuff moved into the office yet, and now this is twice that people are questioning his ability to lead that team and that frame. If you're Tim Tebow, the guy was willing to go to bat for you, and it has gone very, very poorly for him. If you're Tim Tebow, you've got to go, all right, I'm going to fall on the sword for you now. I'm going to return the favor here. There's no win in this situation except for Tebow making the roster, and that only benefits Tim Tebow. It doesn't benefit anybody else. And
there is one win here. If Tebow makes the roster and turns into Taysom Hill and he becomes a weapon, again, I don't think that's going to happen. Okay. But again, you said there's no win. That would be the only win if Tebow is actually decent at the job and becomes a factor for the Jaguars.
I'm going to take my kids' college fund and dump it right into the lottery and have people say, man, that's stupid. Well, what if I win?
Actually, I'd bet on that more than some of the stocks I bought recently, okay? I'd bet on Tebow's stock.
I don't know. I bought
more than DraftKings.
I bought 6 scratch-offs yesterday. Didn't win on any of them. And I look at the back and it says 1 out of every 4.6. This is not making sense to me.
Yeah. I think there's a chance. And I was on Feinbaum's show yesterday. So, again, this has become such a huge topic that Feinbaum, who does a college football show on the SEC Network, he called me up yesterday to talk about Tim Tebow and the Jaguars and Urban Meyer. And I said this to Feinbaum, and I think I even said it on our show. Somebody in that organization needs to check Urban Meyer, sit him down and say, listen, you're in the NFL now, whether it's the owner, Shad Khan, or the owner's son, Tony Khan. Somebody needs to tell Urban Meyer, or somebody needs to, before Urban Meyer makes these decisions, somebody needs to be above Urban Meyer and say, you can't do this. Like the Iowa strength coach. You can't do this, Urban. No, you're not getting your way on this. But it seems like Shad Khan has just given Urban Meyer just giving him the keys of the franchise and say, do what you want with it. It seems like that because somebody needs to check him on stuff like this. Well, they really do.
Remember when he signed the strength coach from Iowa and all, and then he quickly was like, I ran it past Shad Khan and we were all in on this decision. Like he was
GM,
like,
Trent Baalke.
Well, and that to me, look, I'm actually a fan of coaches being the GM because then I know who to blame. Okay, at the end of the day. Then if you don't want Trent Baalke to be your GM, if you don't want somebody who handles the personnel calls and the moves, then don't have one. Let the coach do that. And if it blows up in our face, then we know we can point at that one guy. If you're Trent Baalke, did you co-sign this? Did you look at and say, this is a good idea? This would be a great use of a spot to take guys to camp with. A guy who hasn't played in the league in 7 years, has never played this position. This is what we want. Or, hey, I can find a guy who was waived last year by a team that maybe I think can contribute to us. I think at the end of the day, you're right. Urban Meyer's kind of gotten the keys to the franchise, and he's either going to drive it to the promised land or drive it right into the right in the ocean.
So is there a specific reason why people haven't literally asked, for instance, you said Trent Baalke, right? Why haven't they asked him specifically, like, hey, what's going on behind the scenes? Like, do you have more control over this, or is it more Urban's thing? Why hasn't anyone asked him questions? All I see is Urban in the media talking. No one else.
Because Urban's the voice of the franchise. He's the face of the franchise.
Though.
That's what he is, though. Urban Meyer speaks for that franchise now. It's not the owner. It's not the GM. It's not anybody. It's Urban Meyer's. They even said it when they hired him. We are now a coach-centric organization. That was the word that Shad Khan used, coach-centric. That means Urban Meyer is the guy. Mike DeRocco of ESPN.com said something the other day, though, that sort of made sense. He goes, they haven't been a coach-centric organization in the past, and the GM and the owner and the owner's son have sort of been making the decisions. Well, that hasn't worked very well. So maybe it's time that they do give power to the coach.
Switch
but again, again, Urban Meyer is making some very questionable decisions here. We've got a couple of Tim Tebow's up on Tim Tebow polls up on Twitter. You can go vote on those at 96.9 The Game. Straight ahead, it's the sound off coming your way on Open Mic. But first, we have your chance at $1,000. correct. Did the Tim Tebow talk has created some discussion on the text line. 50857. Tim's a role model. You don't a positive person, a good fit to show people that you can still make your dreams come true. I mean, that's not what it. Get out of here. That's not what an NFL team is for, to make Tim Tebow's dreams come true. And again, there is no bigger Tim Tebow fan than I am. Everybody knows that. I love the guy. I think he's going to be president someday. I think he is the ultimate role model. I think he's too big for the NFL. I think he's got bigger things that he can do with his life than be a backup tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right. But that's beside the point. The point is football is a meritocracy. All right. Sports is a meritocracy. You get your chances based on how good you are. Now, I understand that in all walks of life, you have connections, and that's sort of, sometimes you get ahead based on your connections, you know, whether it's you get a promotion because maybe you know the boss a little bit better than your competitor. So, yeah, I understand that the only reason Tim Tebow's getting a chance with the Jaguars is because Urban Meyer's the boss, and Urban Meyer is his, Tim Tebow is Urban Meyer's favorite player of all time. I understand that. But, again, I just don't think it's a good idea. Somebody said, why wouldn't you want to have a guy like Tebow around your organization? I have no problem with the Jaguars having Tebow around the organization, just not as a player. I would love for them to sign him as an assistant GM or the player relations coordinator. What if you want him to have an impact on the players? There are ways to do that without him taking a roster spot. Right, okay? Right. So, again, I have no problem with Tim Tebow. I would love for Tim Tebow to be involved with the Jaguars. All right, here's one that really got my ire here. The woke sports media loves Kaepernick and hates Tebow. But Tebow fills seats in the stadium. Kaepernick empties them. All right. Again, let me just say this, all right? I think it's apples and oranges to compare Tebow to Kaepernick. And again, I don't really get it. I don't really get it other than the fact that Tebow's getting another chance as a backup tight end, and Kaepernick, I mean, I don't think anybody would argue that Kaepernick, at least originally when he started kneeling for the national anthem, got blackballed by the NFL. I do think this, though. I think Kaepernick has had chances to come back to the NFL, and he really doesn't want to come back to the NFL. I've said that many times. I'm at the Ravens. Go look up Ray Lewis's quotes. The Ravens wanted to give him a chance until right before they were going to sign Colin Kaepernick. His girlfriend puts out a meme up there comparing the Ravens owner and Ray Lewis to a slave master and a slave. So that cost him his chance with the Ravens. And then let's not forget his own tryout that he sabotaged a year or two ago. Remember, it was going to be at where was it going to be? It was going to be at
in New Orleans,
Mercedes-Benz.
Right? Yeah.
No, it was going to be at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, NFL Stadium. It was all set up, and then 2 hours before the tryout, he switched it to a high school like 60 miles away, and a lot of NFL scouts said, "The hell with this," and they didn't even show up for it. All right, so again, I think Colin Kaepernick is happy with his role now as sort of a social justice warrior. I think that's what he wants to be. I don't think he wants to be in the NFL anymore. And again, I wrote this in my column, all right? And you can agree or disagree with this. If Colin Kaepernick, if Urban Meyer were a head coach, if he'd been a head coach in the NFL, how long's Colin Kaepernick been out now? Been out of the league?
6 years, something like that?
Yeah, probably about that long, yeah.
Okay, all right. Say Urban Meyer, say Colin Kaepernick played for Urban Meyer in college and won a Heisman Trophy and helped Urban Meyer win a couple of national championships. All right? Mm-hmm. I think Urban Meyer would give Colin Kaepernick a chance. I do.
Dude, if
I just think
Aaron
that-
Hernandez was still alive and was released from prison,
Yeah. Urban Meyer, yes, he would even give it. Yes.
yeah, of course he would.
No. I'm kidding about Aaron Hernandez, but
Oh,
again, people are saying this is, I've seen it online and on social media. It's white privilege that Tebow's getting another chance and Kaepernick's not. No, it's not. It's Tebow privilege is what it is. It's Tim Tebow privilege. Tim Tebow got a chance to play in Major League Baseball. That had nothing to do with Colin Kaepernick, for crying out loud. Why did he get a chance to play Major League Baseball? Because he's Tim Tebow, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think the part that bothers me is I don't think anybody thought for a split second that the New York Mets were going to just, give Tim Tebow a major league roster spot, right? You know what I mean? He was going to toil around in there like Double-A and let Timmy play Timmy baseball fantasy camp for as long as he wanted to. It didn't bother them. I think the issue here is that there is a belief amongst some, maybe a lot, that they're going to sign him
make the team.
and he would make the team, which is totally different than, listen, give him give him the DK Metcalf. You got an opportunity, hey, that's great, but giving him, if he ends up on the roster.
Should we wait to criticize until he actually makes the team?
That's how I feel, to tell you the truth.
I still, my big issue here.
Because again, it's urban. I just said in all professions you get chances, or maybe you get a chance, others don't because of a connection that you have. Couldn't sports be considered the same?
Well, and here's the thing: tight end is a position, as we've seen, that says, listen, you don't have to be a college football star tight end. You don't have to have experience playing tight end. We've seen basketball players go, I'll try that. I'll give that a shot, see how it goes. So that's not even my issue. Had this had been 7 years ago and when Tim Tebow wasn't going to work out as a quarterback and people were like, move your position. You're in your physical prime today, then I would have understood that. The fact the guy's been gone for so and with all due respect to Urban, I know in my 40s I'm not as athletically gifted as I was in my 30s. And I don't care how many miles on the treadmill Tim Tebow has run over the last 7 years. He's not in as good a physical shape at 33 as he was at 27.
That wear and tear, man.
It's but that's my biggest issue is that we're essentially taking a non-athlete at this point. And though Tim Tebow is athletic for 33, I'm sure of it.
But he's been broadcasting for quite some time now.
He's not a professional athlete. He's not a college athlete anymore. He's not a guy who played small forward at Sam Houston State who goes, hey, I'm a pretty good athlete. Let me get a shot at tight end in the NFL and gets a chance with the Houston Texans. I'm all for that.
Although I would argue that Tebow, and again, I would argue that Tebow, even now, even though he hasn't been playing professional sports, I would argue that knowing Tim Tebow, he probably has his own professional trainer. He probably works out. He probably works out as hard, if not harder, than some NFL athletes do during the offseason. I just know Tim Tebow's commitment to physical fitness. Hell, I told you, he used to sleep in one of those cryogenic chambers, for crying out loud. I'm sure his new wife doesn't like that now, doesn't allow that. But Tim Tebow has always been a workout warrior, whether he's been a professional athlete or not. In my opinion.
Yeah, no, I'm sure he's in good shape. He's not, he doesn't let himself go. But there's a huge difference. The great Kenny Powers once said, I'm trying to be good at sports. I'm not trying to be good at working out. Okay, I mean, there's a big difference between. I can't just walk into any Gold's Gym and find some guy who's ripped to shreds and go, here you go. Here's a helmet. Here's some shoulder pads. Go play some football. That's my only knock on it, my real knock on it.
Yeah, but Tebow was one of the greatest college players of all time.
So was Eric Crouch. Eric Crouch won a Heisman Trophy. Nobody's out here asking Eric Crouch to play slot receiver 10 years
He's
after
40.
his career.
He's 40.
But I do think that caveat.
You know what I'm saying.
That caveat people need to understand, because I think people, like, even in the text line, they're like, oh, why wouldn't you want to have him there, right? But it's like the caveat of him taking a roster spot is the only thing that we're speaking of. I think we could all be in agreement that we agree with him being with the organization, but when it comes to taking a spot from somebody, we don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also think it would blow up in their face. I mean, if players on that team didn't feel like he really deserved that spot and he got it, you want to talk about?
He better be. Yeah, he better be impressive in training camp if they put him on the roster, because the players would not be happy.
I was going to say, I don't care what Bible scripture he was peddling around that locker room. If they feel like he's just there on the merits of his relationship with Urban Meyer, that would not be good for the locker room.
Absolutely not. All right, straight ahead, Sound Off is coming your way on Open Mic.
Whether you're drinking your morning coffee or sipping on a seltzer.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking
Sound Off brought to you by the Academy Sports and Outdoors text line. If you have any thoughts on our show, text in to 50857. Somebody just texted in, Bianchi sleeps in a Tebow jersey. I do. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's getting a little snug on me now, but yeah, it's great pajamas. Mm-hmm. What do we have, Kelly?
Sound off. I saw the other day who Jeannie Buss is. Made a statement that the 5 most important Lakers, one of the most offensive things I've ever heard in my life. Really offensive. Well, let's put it this way. I was there a lot of times and had a lot of success, and would be curious to know why, if they would have had that success if I hadn't been there. And we had a little small staff, and I don't ever take credit for stuff. I don't. But when I was around, maybe I was just a good luck charm, okay? But I do know that when this thing fell apart, there was a lot of years that they weren't very good.
All right, to me, this is kind of like a 2-part question, Mike. All right, the first part is, of course, the logo catching feelings for Jeannie Buss naming her top 5 Lakers players of all time and not putting him in there. And number 2, just the timing of it with the Lakers about to go into the play-in, going into the postseason. How, inconvenient is it that something like this is happening in the organization?
Well, again, I don't know how much I don't think it's going to affect them in the playoffs, but Jerry West upset that Jeannie Buss, who's the acting owner of the Lakers, I guess she was on some podcast a few weeks ago, and she listed her top 5 Lakers ever, and she listed Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, LeBron James, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Phil Jackson. And again, Jerry West should be upset. Jerry West, forget about being the logo. I don't even think he should be the logo. But Jerry West did win a title with the Lakers. He was with the Lakers his entire career. They won a title. They were one of the greatest teams of all time in 1972. And then, after spending his entire career with the Lakers, he was the GM. He was the brains behind drafting or trading for Kobe Bryant in the 1996 draft. He successfully wooed Shaq to L.A. from Orlando. Without those moves, Phil Jackson. Why is Phil Jackson on the freaking list here? And Jerry West isn't. Why? And again, LeBron James is great, but he doesn't belong on the list of all-time great Lakers yet. Jerry West is absolutely right here.
Didn't Phil Jackson, wasn't he and Jeannie Buss together?
Yeah, for a while, but they're not anymore.
All right, well, maybe.
She's like, yeah, he's in my top 5.
All right, top 5. There we go. That's how I got the top 5, Mike. All right, listen.
Tim Tebow gets a tryout. Yeah. Phil Jackson gets in the top 5.
How about Phil Jackson gets to pat himself on the back, tell everybody, I'm still in her top 5.
I'm still there, baby.
As an organization, it's things that, you can do better as well. But I'll just say this, for Joe Brady's growth, that organization, they'll have to just practice different things, in different ways. One of the things we didn't do much of when I was there, we didn't practice 2-minute really. We didn't practice red zone. You didn't practice on Fridays there, but you walk through the red zone stuff. And then Saturday you come out and practice red zone, but you only get 15 live reps, and guys' reps will be limited.
Former Carolina QB Teddy Bridgewater talking about how they just never practice the red zone. What should the Broncos be thinking right now hearing this, Adam?
Wait. So I'm confused.
So when he was at Carolina, they didn't practice. He's saying that Matt Rule, who was the new Carolina coach last year, coming from college, didn't practice the red zone stuff enough, is what he was saying.
So what should Denver be? Denver should be like, man, we got to get Carolina on the schedule as often as we can. They don't barely practice down there. That's what they should be thinking right now. Because who is hosting the podcast? It sounds like it must have been a former NFL player. Because when Teddy Bridgewater said we didn't practice on Fridays, and he goes, what?
He said, what?
What? And then he says we only got 15 reps on Saturday. The guy was like, man, I wish I played for those teams. Okay. Successful college coach gets a chance to go into the NFL, and then we hear some of the decisions being made.
Oh, stop it. First of all,
they can't all be Jimmy Johnson, fellas. They can't all be Jimmy Johnson.
Teddy Bridgewater. We're gonna take Teddy Bridgewater's word from it.
Yeah, like he wasn't on the team last year.
He was on the team, but still, I mean, come on. We practice red zone on Saturday instead of Friday. Who cares? Shut up.
Sound off.
See, I just don't know if you put Tim Tebow's hand in the dirt. It's almost like all of these new quarterbacks coming in that have never played under center. You don't transition them to a complete under center quarterback. To me, he's more of an H-back. If you want Tim Tebow to play tight end for you, he's that move position. You're putting him in a slot every once in a while. You're putting him in the backfield. You're letting him kind of move around. You're letting him stay in an up stance. Now, as it comes to blocking, he's got a lot to figure out there. Toughness, I think Tebow has, and so I appreciate that, and I think he'll have a chance there. But you start talking about simple footwork and leverage and understanding how defensive ends and outside linebackers play and where you want to put your hands on them, what your hat placement needs to be, or your helmet placement needs to be. All those little things that manipulate a defensive end are things that guys pick up over time, and we'll see. Maybe he can.
Yeah,
I think he'll be an okay route runner. I think he's athletic enough.
Former tight end Chris Cooley talking about the transition from QB to tight end for Tim Tebow. What are you thinking, Mike?
I totally agree. I don't think Tim Tebow is going to be your traditional tight end. Kravitz said it a few days ago. I think he's going to be a bargain bin type Taysom Hill. I think that's the type of tight end that he will be. Taysom Hill also listed as a tight end, but he said he'll be an okay route runner and an okay H-back. I don't necessarily agree with that because Taysom Hill is fast. Tim Tebow's not fast. Tim Tebow, is he athletic? Is he sculpted? Yes, but he's not fast. He's never been fast. He ran a 4.7 something 40 at the combine when he was coming out of college. So and you got to think he's not even that fast now. So again, I don't think it's a good idea. I don't know how many different ways I can say it.
Sound off.
That's a sound off for today, ladies and gentlemen.
That is the sound off straight ahead. The NFL schedule is out. How excited are you that you know the dates and times of when the teams are playing next year? We're going to get into that next on Open Mic.
96.9
open mic.
Welcome back to Open Mic. I'm Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog. Sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel, joined as always by Adam Reardon, the deceptive intellect, and of course, on his first day, officially as the executive producer of Open Mic, one Kelly Velez, the Prince of Production as of right now.
Yeah, in the building, y'all. Feeling good. You feeling good, Mike, by the way? How's everything been going? How are the vibes here? Talk to me.
Your first day, official day, has been spectacular, and I don't want to. What's the saying? I don't want to cast any shadows on Austin Pistolka. What's the phrase? Throw shade. I don't want to throw any shade at Austin Pistolka.
I don't think throwing you can lift someone up without putting someone down.
You know what? Fair. Good riddance, the Pistolka. Good riddance.
Austin, I miss you, man.
Actually, yeah, we miss Austin Pistolka as well. But Kelly Velez doing a great job. In fact, we have a spontaneous text question in honor of Kelly Velez's first day as the executive producer
text question of
Open Mic. All right, so we named him the Prince of Production, when he was auditioning for the job. But maybe there's a better nickname for him. I mean, the Bulldog, Mark Daniels gave me my nickname, the Deceptive Intellect. Adam Reardon, I gave him that nickname. Austin Pistolka's nickname, the Sultan of Sound, actually came from our text line, 50857. If you have a better nickname than Prince of Production for Kelly Velez, text him into 50857. We've got some on the line. Get your dinger or your buzzer ready, Kelly, since this is going to be your nickname. How about the King of Communication?
I like that. King of Communication, Casey.
I like this one. The Bianchi Sound Machine. I like it. I like it. Anything with my name in it, with another guy.
He would love that one, right?
Yeah. Oh, I like this one too. Annoying New Yorker.
And we're just getting started, baby.
What about this one? The Prodigy of Production.
Oh my Lord.
I sort of like that one.
That may be the
Prodigy of young guy, sort of, yeah. Yeah, I like it. 50857, keep those coming in, please. I've got a little bit of a... All right, so Orlando City got officially sold yesterday. Longtime Orlando City owner Flavio Augusto da Silva sold the club to the Wilf family, the owner of the Minnesota Vikings. I guess it doesn't officially close for 30 to 60 days, sort of like a house. We talked about this the other day. I guess you come to the agreement, you sign the contract, and then it takes 30 to 60 days to close. Also, the MLS Board of Governors must approve the sale, but that's just a formality. Essentially, the Wilfs yesterday bought Orlando City from Flavio. All right, so I wrote a column about this at OrlandoSentinel.com. You can read that column right now if you want. All right. So here's my beef, Adam Reardon, and call me an egotist if you want, all right? Call me egotistical. So, I'm the columnist at the Orlando Sentinel. We host, Kelly, we host the most popular sports radio show in all of Orlando. So there's a site that covers Orlando City, all right? It's Orlando City, sort of like a fan site. It's called The Mainland, all right? Maine, M-A-N-E, like Lion's Mane. The Mainland, all right? So every day they do links about what people are writing about Orlando City, all right? Mm-hmm. They do links. There's a lot of websites do that. Here's what everybody else. They never include my links in their links. Like they'll put Julia Poe, who's my colleague at the Orlando Sentinel. They'll put her in there. I think they are part of they may be part of the soccer snob mentality that's out there.
Mike, that's not the best way of going about getting your links put up now.
I'm just saying. Why aren't my links up? Why aren't my links up?
Is this part of the cancel culture? Are you the new Bob Baffert?
Yes, I think I've been canceled.
So, Mike, I've told you this. I've told you when I first started the show. To be honest, to be fair, I didn't live in Orlando, and I love soccer, but I wasn't an MLS fan. I mean, I just didn't watch it. But then when I moved here and got on the show, I was like, okay, well, let me pay some more attention to Orlando City and MLS as a whole. And then you said the Purple Palace one time, and then I repeated it, thinking
oh yeah, this is great.
This must be what they call it.
That was my nickname for the new stadium when it was built, because it was so nice. Obviously, purple being Orlando's dominant color.
It's an alliteration.
The Purple Palace.
It makes sense why he's being blackballed from the main, because you're the one that coined the Purple Palace, so they're not airing your stuff.
And the fans hate it, and that's a fan site.
I don't know why though. It's the perfect nickname, the Purple Palace.
Well, the fans don't think so. The fans have spoken.
Because because they know I'm not a traditional soccer fan. I'm not in the supporter groups and all of that. I write about college football more than I write about soccer. I write about the NFL more than we're not going to take that nickname from this soccer.
You think if Julia Poe would have come up with the Purple Palace, they would have been raving.
They would have raved about it. If the mainland had come up with it, they would. If Adam Reardon, the European soccer aficionado had come up with it, they would be raving about it. All right, but that's beside the point. Go ahead. Don't include my links. I don't care. All right. By the way, I'm being blackballed.
You're being
blackballed by the mainland.
Cancel culture.
Cancel culture. Yes. Yeah. Anyway, I love the move. We've talked about this. I love that the Wilf family has bought Orlando City, and we've talked about this before. Adam Reardon is the soccer aficionado on this show. You would agree there's no downside to having an owner or an ownership group that are multi-billionaires. And again, Flavio, he's the guy responsible for getting MLS or getting Orlando City into the MLS. We do owe him a debt of gratitude for being the money man behind the original bid to get to MLS. But him selling the team is great for Orlando City because, as I said earlier, Flavio's rich. The Wilf family is filthy rich. So this is a win-win for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah, you know who knocks people who live in country clubs? People who don't live in country clubs. You know what I mean? Like, I would never live there. I would never know. And then you move in and you talk about, well, it's a safe neighborhood for the kids. It's a nice gated community. We have a lovely pool. You start. Remember when Atlanta won their MLS title? And it's NFL owners just buying and spending all this money to make everybody's knocking it. Guess what? Guess what neighborhood you may have just moved into? You may have just moved into the country club and been able to take part in some of the amenities that maybe previously you weren't able to. And you will learn now why other teams have been rather successful with that kind of money to splash around, with the commitment to win. This is a new day, and I said this before. Even starting last season, with Oscar Pereira coming on board, making the playoffs. Nani's a top 5 to 10 player in the league. You had Daryl Dike explode, so he's a $20 million bill just waiting, a check waiting to be cashed at some point here in the very near future. You got Chris Mueller, who's on the U.S. national team now, and his progression over the last few years. There is nothing negative. There's no. I've said this before. I can't point to one thing today that you'd look at and go, I liked it better a year and a half ago. Not one thing off the top of my head, and somebody would have to tell it to me for me, to figure out if there's something today that you liked less than you liked it a year and a half ago. I just don't see it.
You left out one of the main advantages, also one of the main benefits as well. That's better than it used to be.
What's that?
They have a great nickname for their stadium, the Purple Palace. The Purple Palace.
And soon, once Mike really gets it like etched into when he gets fully committed to it, the team will have a new nickname.
Absolutely. We'll get to that during the blast. Let's pause for station identification.
WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach, FM 96.9 The Game, the home of Orlando City Soccer Club.
You feel that?
I can feel it.
We're about to blast off.
Just took it to my veins!
It's time for the blast.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the blast brought to you by Frank Gay Services. When you have a plumbing or electrical problem, you need help now, okay? Go to frankgayservices.com. So let's start it all off with the open mic thought-provoking daily poll, okay? With the NFL schedule being released yesterday, which state game involving the Jags, Bucks, or Dolphins are you most looking forward to this season, okay? Bucks and Cowboys in week 1, Bucks and Pats week 4, Dolphins, Bucks week 5, or Jags, Dolphins week 6.
Okay, so nationally, I get that the Bucks Patriots is going to win this poll. All right, I totally understand. Obviously, that's the game everybody's going to be watching. Tom Brady's, triumphant return to New England, where he was there for 20 years and won 6 Super Bowls. I understand all of that. All right, but to me. Being the Jags fan that I am, being the state of Florida guy that I am, I'm looking forward to Jags Dolphins week 6 because you're going to have Trevor Lawrence versus Tua. 2 young quarterbacks trying to make a name for themselves in the state of Florida. It's in London. It's going to be internationally covered. It's on at 9:30, which means you can roll out of bed on Sunday morning, get a little breakfast, and watch some NFL football. Give me Jags Dolphins week 6.
I was going to say Jags Dolphin week 6 because that's over in London. And listen, by that point, we will be exhausted talking about the quarterback controversy in Jacksonville between Trevor Lawrence and Tim Tebow. Okay? We're going to say, listen, Europe, you have this for a weekend, please. It's just driving us crazy, okay? But I'm actually interested in the Bucks and Dolphins. All right? I want to see, if we're measuring against the Super Bowl champs, if Tua and this Dolphins team is ready to take that next step.
Very good point.
I like it. I like it.
With 47% of the vote, Bucks and Pats week 4, of course. Bucks and Cowboys were second. Interesting. All right, open mic supplementary. Poll number 1. With it being reported that there is a disagreement within the Jacksonville Jaguars organization about potentially signing Tim Tebow, do you think Urban Meyer will backtrack on the move?
That's a good one. I don't think he will, simply because there are people who again, a lot of people questioning this move, but I don't think Urban. He backtracked on the strength and conditioning hire. All right, that was his first major blunder. If he backtracks on this, I think people will say, wait a minute, what is this guy doing, making decisions and then changing his mind a day later, a week later, whatever. So, no, I don't think Urban Meyer is going to backtrack on this. I'm not convinced Tebow will make the roster, but I'm pretty sure if I were betting, I would bet that Tim Tebow's going to be on the opening day roster.
I think that he's going to have to beg Tebow to bow out. Like, listen, do me a favor, man. I'm getting crushed over this. It's making me look like amateur hour here as a head coach in the NFL. Let's be honest. We saw you running around out here. You're not 26 anymore, all right? Do me a favor. I need you to come out. Don't make me cut you. Please don't make me have to be the guy who cuts you. I don't want to cut you. Just go and say, hey, listen, you've got all these other opportunities out there, and though football's still in your heart, it just isn't in your legs anymore. Something along those lines.
You can hire Mike Bianchi as your campaign manager as your run for president begins. Things like that.
How about the Cuban Tebow ticket?
The Cuban Tebow ticket?
Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban, Tim Tebow. I like it.
Yeah, I'll go for that.
With 58% of the vote, we have positively no, he will not backtrack on the move. Open mic supplemental poll number 2. If the Jacksonville Jaguars do end up signing Tim Tebow, does it hurt the credibility of Urban Meyer as an NFL coach?
I think Urban Meyer's credibility as an NFL coach is already being questioned. Again, I mentioned the hiring of the Iowa strength and conditioning coach, and now it looks like they're going to sign Tim Tebow, at least to bring him to training camp. So, yeah, I mean, there's always a question. When a college coach makes the jump to the NFL, can he adjust, or is he going to bring that same college mentality to the NFL? I think Adam said, I don't know if it was about this move or no, it was about Travis Etienne, drafting Travis Etienne in the first round with the second pick of the first round for the Jaguars, and Adam Reardon called that a college move. Signing Tim Tebow would definitely be a college move, and it would show that Urban Meyer is showing favoritism to his favorite college player of all time.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this a whole bunch. You know, my biggest issue with all of this is that it's a guy who hasn't played in the NFL for a long time. And even if he were to make the roster and people make the argument, don't you want a guy like Tebow in the locker room? If the other 52 players in the locker room don't believe he belongs there, then I don't care what book he's got up on the shelf. I don't care what he's got on the eye black. I don't care what he's meant to the University of Florida. And it will be bad for the locker room.
Absolutely. I feel like we should have reworded this question. Not does it hurt, but who does it hurt? The media, the players, or the fans themselves? But we have 51% actually of the vote saying no, it doesn't hurt his credibility if he does hire Tim Tebow. Sign him.
So it was close, 51-49. Wow.
51-49. That's correct. Great math. Open mic supplemental poll number 3. Okay, with the sale of Orlando City, okay, to the owners of the Minnesota Vikings being made official yesterday, do you agree with Bianchi that we should start referring to the Lions as the purple pressing protagonists?
Absolutely. Just like the Purple Palace. Just like the Purple Palace is the perfect nickname for that stadium. Purple Pressing Protagonists, the owners of the Vikings, which once had a defense called the Purple People Eaters. It's the same color, the same dominant color. Oscar Perea, the coach of Orlando City, he's always said, I want our team to be aggressive. I want us to be the protagonists. The Purple Pressing Protagonist is the perfect nickname, with the new owners being from the Vikings.
No, because maybe one day I want my stuff shared on the mainland, okay? So I'm voting no on this.
With 90% of the vote, it's no, Mike. Just no. We're not going
90%.
with that.
Yeah.
Open mic supplemental.
Hey, that poll right there, that's the one dentist that doesn't recommend the one brand of toothpaste. You know, like 9 out of 10 dentists agree. Mike's the one dentist.
Mike's the one dentist. Open mic supplemental poll number 4. Is the Green Bay Packers signing of former UCF quarterback Blake Bortles yesterday an indication that Aaron Rodgers won't be back in Green Bay next season? He won't be back, or he will be back?
Oh, I still think he will be back, all right? But I do think it's an indication that the Packers are worried, all right? They are certainly worried, and they're certainly trying to come up with a plan B, all right? Plan B. Going from Aaron Rodgers to Blake Bortles would be like plan D, all right? But I do think that the Packers are at least concerned that they're trying to get some additional arms in camp as they get ready for training camp. So is Blake Bortles going to be the starter next year instead of Aaron Rodgers? No, I still think Aaron Rodgers will be the starter next year. And if Aaron Rodgers isn't, it will be Jordan Love. They'll at least get a look at the rookie quarterback, or the second-year quarterback. But I think the Packers are worried. But what are the options again?
He won't be back, or he will be back?
He will be back next year.
I got a question. He was very upset with the organization because they drafted Love in the first round and didn't converse with him, didn't discuss it with him. Did anybody reach out to him and say, "Hey, listen, we're thinking about signing Blake Bortles"?
You got to reach out to him with every move.
Yeah, you know,
hey, we're going to hire a new custodian. What do you think about this, Aaron?
We're switching from the Keurig to this Dr. Coffee machine in here. You know, you good with that? Listen, if you want to keep him, that's what you need to do, okay? That's what you need to do at this point. Listen,
Aaron, what brand of printer?
I don't think he's going to be there. I don't think he's going to be there.
What brand of printer do you think we should have in the office? HP?
I don't think he's going to be there. I don't think he's bluffing.
With 60% of the vote, he will be back. When's that one?
Yeah.
All right, open mic. Would you rather poll, folks? Would you rather have a lot of time with no freedom or freedom but no time? Think about it.
Time with no freedom. What does that mean? Like you're in jail?
It's a job. What are you talking about, Mike? It's a job. You got a lot of time but no freedom.
You can't do all the things that you want to do. You may be, burdened with some other things. So you may have a lot of time here, but you're not doing the things that you love to do.
But then again, if you're doing the things you love to do, but you have no time, you don't have time to do those things.
This is a mind bender, man.
Listen, I'm just going to take my Chinese food to go and leave this fortune cookie on the table, please, and thank you.
I guess I'd rather have freedom with no time than time with no freedom. And again, this is confusing to me. I'm going to get freedom with no time.
Well, listen, it wasn't confusing for everybody on there because they voted for the same thing that you did, Mike. All right, freedom, but no time, folks. And listen, you already know that is The Blast right here on 96.9 The Game, brought to you by Frank Gate Services. A live operator is waiting for you, and a licensed plumber is ready to help today with the solution to your problem fast. That's the Frank Gay way, frankgateservices.com.
That's the Frank Gay way. Straight ahead, Brandon Kravitz is going to join us. I guess we'll have to talk some Tebow with him and also some Blake Bortles going to the Packers. That's next on Open Mic.
Now, here's your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, STOCK. That's STOCK. Enter it now.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine 96.9 The Game studios.
That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen.
Anajar and Levine, accident attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. We are FM 96.9 The Game, an iHeartRadio station.
Touchdown! Boom!
This report is sponsored by Rocket Mortgage.
Heavy stop-and-go traffic still reported eastbound on I-4 this morning due to a crash reported at Ivanhoe that has delays backed up all the way to John Young. Things now slowing down westbound on the interstate between 436 and Colonial Drive. No reported problems right now on the 408 as you move through downtown. Traffic still looks good north and southbound this morning on Florida's Turnpike. If you see any traffic problems, make sure to call the Safe Touch Security Traffic Tip Line at 866-676-8477. From the Traffic Center, I'm Samantha Canning.
When you're ready to buy a new home and want a mortgage lender who can help you plan with certainty, Rocket can. Need a lender who can help you understand all your mortgage options, get personalized loan options, closing costs, and tax estimates all in real time? Rocket can. Rocket Mortgage.
These days, nearly every small business owner is looking for ways to cut costs. And that's where Spectrum Business comes in. They have the best business internet and phone available at prices that are up to half off what you're paying now. That's right. You can cut costs for your business and get faster internet. Just what small businesses need right now. Call 833-919-2129 and get all the value with none of the nonsense. That's Spectrum Business. 833-919-2129.
My stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea. What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol Chews.
Pepto-Bismol's in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Ooh, let me try it.
Try Pepto-Bismol Chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Geico presents Motorcycle Word of the Day. Today's word is gremlin. Is a gremlin an unknown and persistent mechanical issue? Or is it something large that gets caught in your teeth when you ride with your mouth open? As in...
Man, I gotta stop singing 80s power ballads when I ride. Ugh, keep getting gremlins in my teeth. See?
Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
If you've got a personal auto insurance question, you could talk to a cab driver, although the policies he recommends might include avoiding the interstate, beating traffic by taking the back roads, and only making left turns when absolutely necessary. Or you could talk to your local Geico agent, whose policy is to use their expertise to navigate your insurance, finding the best route to help you save money on insurance for your home, car, and more. And as an added bonus, you'll be able to avoid traffic jams and potholes entirely. To find a Geico agent near you, visit geico.com/local.
It pays to fill your prescriptions at CVS. In fact, you can earn up to $50 in extra bucks each year just for filling prescriptions. That's healthier, made easier. Visit CVS today. Terms and conditions apply. Not available in all states. See cvs.com/RX rewards or the pharmacy for details.
DQ presents. Picture this. Picture the new DQ Summer Blizzard treat menu with iconic flavors that taste like instant summer. You order the one and only Drumstick Blizzard with peanuts. Oh, wow. Crunchy waffle cone pieces, world-famous DQ soft serve, and Blue Sky Bliss. Or maybe you get the Brownie Batter Blizzard. Ooh-wee. Fudgy brownie goodness. You're feeling breezy and dreamy all over. Moments like these are why the new DQ Summer Blizzard treat menu exists. Get it delivered at DQ.com. DQ. Happy tastes good.
Are you still mixing station gas and oil for your string trimmer, leaf blower, or chainsaw? Eliminate the mess and the guesswork with True Fuel, the original pre-mixed two-cycle fuel. True Fuel is ethanol-free and precision-engineered for small engines, improving performance and extending the life of your outdoor power equipment. And True Fuel is available for both 2- and 4-cycle engines. Empower your equipment with True Fuel. Available at your local Home and Garden Center today.
For the ones who get going when the going gets tough. And the ones who know we're tougher together. For the Pathfinders breaking new ground. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as fast access to experts and 24/7 customer support. Because we know you have people depending on you. So you can always depend on us. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
No one outfits golfers better than Edwin Watts Golf Shops. We've been fitting golfers since 1968. Utilizing cutting-edge fitting technology, we'll analyze your swing and our Foresight launch monitors and fit you with the perfect club, pair of shoes, the latest golf apparel, golf balls, bags, and more. So come by today for your complete custom fitting. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee.
Season ever. The 2021 schedule is out. Go to NFL.com/schedules for a look at the entire season. The epic showdowns.
The two most creative, dynamic players in the National Football League.
The classic rivalries.
Packers and Bears set to do battle.
17 games for all 32 teams.
You cannot ask for anything better.
Visit NFL.com.
I do like the walk-up music for Brandon Kravitz, host of In the Zone every weekday, 3 to 6 p.m. right here on FM 96.9 The Game, AM 740, HD 101.1-2. Brandon Kravitz, how are you this morning?
I'm doing fantastic. Excited to be on with you guys. Weather's a little crummy, but, you know, it's one of those days you just pour an extra cup of coffee and get it done.
Yeah. Is it raining out today?
It's drizzling, but I still went on my 5-mile bike ride in the drizzling rain.
Good for you. By the way,
looked like Tim Tebow running in the rain with a Jets jersey by his side.
I just picture Kravitz running around. He's like, "We have 30 minutes for the rest of our lives."
Wait a minute. Did he say this is a 5-minute run or a 5-minute bike or 5-mile bike ride?
It's a 5-mile bike ride. I'm not like patting myself on the back like I'm running a decathlon. I just kind of get going in the morning.
Yeah, well, fine. Get the juices flowing. That's all you need to do. All right, so you brought him up. I didn't bring him up. You're the one who mentioned Tim Tebow. It wasn't me. We've been Kravitz. Seriously, do we have to? do we eventually just have to stop talking about Tim Tebow? Even though, again, we realize, he's clickbait. He's polarizing. A lot of people love him. A lot of people think that the media overexposes him, which we do. It's not his fault, all right? So I don't know why people hate Tim Tebow. But, again, I watch the debate shows every day on the ESPN, and I'm telling you, Tebow is taking over for Aaron Rodgers as most talked about on the debate shows. Backup tight end.
Maybe Aaron Rodgers trained him to play tight end so that they would get off his back.
Right? Do we need to just stop talking about this until something actually happens?
I think at the point that you ask the question, I go through this with a number of topics that we end up diving into. And then because we're on every day for 3 hours a day, you end up diving into things, sometimes too much, sometimes not enough. And you get into that too much department. I think when you start asking yourself the question, you're usually a couple of days away from dropping it anyway. So my guess is we'll just ride out the Tebow thing for the rest of the week, and then we'll wait. It'll lie dormant. We'll let it take a nap. And then we'll get back on the Tebow train when something new develops. But we're moths to a flame. I mean, this is just the way that it is. I don't feel bad for talking about a guy that is one of the more polarizing characters in all of sports for whatever reason.
All right, so Jeff Darlington, my former Orlando Sentinel colleague, now he's a big-time NFL insider for ESPN. He was on Wake Up with Greeny yesterday, and do you have the
It's
clip?
Get Up, Mike. The show's only been on the air for like 5 years now.
Wake Up, Get Up. I used to call it Go Back to Bed.
Go back to bed.
Yeah. So anyway, here's the clip of Jeff Darlington.
There's a serious disagreement within the building about the idea of Urban Meyer signing Tim Tebow. There are coaches on that staff who don't want to see it happen, and there are also, in the same breath, those who are saying, to Booger's point, it's not that big of a deal. Look, he's probably not going to be on the roster week one, to which you would say, well, then why do it at all? I think that Booger makes some really good points there. But it is just also important to remember, beyond the emotional side of this, beyond the wonders of why, is just the reality that it's really not practical. It's not likely to work, and it doesn't necessarily. Urban Meyer, I think, would say, well, hey, I'm going to add anybody to my team who has the potential to better this organization, to which you could look at this and say, well, how is this going to better the organization? There's just really not very much upside at all, to be quite honest.
Okay, so that was Jeff Darlington. By the way, remember this for a supplemental poll tomorrow. How old do you have to be before you change your nickname, the Booger nickname, all right? And just go by your regular name.
I think that ship has sailed far into the ocean by now for Mr. McFarland.
All right, your thoughts on what Darlington said. Could this cause, again, people say the reason Urban Meyer is signing Tebow because of, he could improve the culture in the locker room. Could this hurt the culture in the locker room?
I could, but I'm not. I think people are looking at this the same way that they would look at this if it were 2012. There's a difference between the players in the locker room today and the way they viewed Tim Tebow versus the way they viewed Tim Tebow when Tebow was coming into the league, or even a couple of years into the league, where they viewed Tim Tebow as a peer, as a guy that they went through the ranks with, and they were aware of his presence and his popularity, but they didn't view him as sort of greater than. The guys in the Jags locker room today would view Tim Tebow as a living legend. So so seeing him in the locker room is almost like, oh my God, how cool is this? Where somebody that played college football against him that's now in the NFL would look and go, oh, the sham Tim Tebow's on my team. I don't think the guys in the Jags locker room are going to look at Tebow like that. I think it's going to be cool as hell to have Tim Tebow walking around the locker room. I think it's an absolute positive. I mean, I think you kind of have to go out of your way to come up with why Tim Tebow in your locker room would be a negative thing. The only argument that I would take is that there's a credibility issue, but Tim Tebow's got to earn it. I mean, if Urban Meyer's just going to hand this to him, then yes, that could be a problem, but that would be a problem for anybody, no matter what your name is. If a guy makes the roster and everyone's looking and going, this guy's crap, what are these coaches thinking? Then that's going to be an issue. So he's got to earn it. My guess is that he doesn't, but I've got no problem with him getting this opportunity. I think it's crazy. The arrogance in the NFL or NFL analysts that are like, this is the NFL. You can't do it this way. Like, one of the things we love about college is that there's so many different varieties, so many different ways to peel the onion. And in the NFL, we just get so locked into, you've got to do things this way, and we laugh at anything that's different. I like this, and it shakes it up a little bit. So why not give it a shot?
Do you think Urban Meyer, and again, I realize you like it, but there are a lot of, you just talked about the NFL analysts, a lot of a lot of former players. Do you think this hurts Urban Meyer's credibility, though?
Yeah, absolutely. For that exact reason, there's this elitism of, you've got to be of NFL caliber. You can't go do hokey things. And even just trying it. I mean, we're talking about this like he's already lined him up at slot receiver. It's May 13th. Nothing's actually happened yet. I don't think Tebow's actually even signed a contract yet. And yet people are already tearing down Urban Meyer like he doesn't know what he's doing. And we'll be the first to do that. You'll certainly be the first to do that, and then I'll hop on board too.
He's already made one bad move with the strength and conditioning hire.
That was a bad move. I'm not sure this is a bad move. I understand the way that it looks to some people, but Tim Tebow is a positive presence. I think that he can have a really good impact on the people around him. So as long as he brings some credibility on the football field with him, I think this is an absolute net positive. And this idea that Trevor Lawrence's fragile ego is going to be just shattered by this is it's ridiculous to me. This is a guy that's been the presumptive number one overall pick since he was playing in high school. The city of Jacksonville's fully embraced him. As long as he still gets that number one overall contract, he's still the face on the program, and he's the starting quarterback, and he's throwing all the passes. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is going to care if somebody asks him a question about Tim Tebow at a virtual press conference.
Okay, if you think your backup tight end should be selling more jerseys than your starting,
he's not going to sell more jerseys than Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, he will.
I think Trevor Lawrence is already like out of the gate one of the more popular jerseys in the NFL.
That's because Tebow hasn't signed yet, and there's no jersey out there for him to sell. Hey, real quick, Blake Bortles either has or will sign a one-year contract with the Green Bay Packers. Is this an indication that the Packers are worried about Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, I would think it is a little bit. I believe that Jordan Love is the only other quarterback on the roster, so they were likely going to add somebody anyway, because you got to roll into the season with more than two quarterbacks, and Jordan Love wasn't even the backup last year. It was somebody by the name of Tim Boyle. Who? Exactly. So now at least Blake Bortles is better than that guy. I shudder to think that opening game, so looking at the schedule, I did my full breakdown yesterday, more to come this afternoon. 4:25, the opening week of the NFL season, is Packers versus Saints, which, Mike, could turn into Blake Bortles versus Jameis Winston.
Oh, nice.
How crazy is that?
That would be awesome. I would love that.
Instead of Rodgers versus Breeze, you get Bortles versus Winston in the 4:25 window.
All right. What do we have on In the Zone today?
Well, I've been trying to answer this question all week. Are we sleeping on Emory Jones as we look ahead to the Florida Gators season? I'm going to get a definitive answer on that one. Some people actually have him projected as a top 10 pick in the next NFL draft, which to me sounds like insanity. And my top 5 games to look forward to on the schedule. Are you kidding? I haven't done a ranking yet. So I'm going to do that this afternoon. See you at 3.
In the Zone, 3 to 6 p.m. every weekday right on this station. Brandon, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
My vote is for Prodigy of Production. You're doing a great job, Kelly.
Woo! Thank you, sir. That's going to be the one, I'm telling you.
No, I don't think you. There's a new one out there that somebody texted in. What about this one? Chairman of the board.
Oh, my Lord.
I like that
one. Listen, the listenership is so incredible. You're incredible.
The chairman of the board.